This is a little unusual. They didn't bring me a gavel, so I'm going to use my knuckles tonight. So I'll call this regular meeting, slightly irregular meeting of the Coralville City Council to order on September 11, 2018, being held at the Children's Museum at the Coral Ridge Mall. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Foster.
Present.
Gross. Here. Gill. Present. Dodd.
Present.
Goodrich.
Here.
All council members are present, as is the mayor, city clerk, city attorney, city administrator, and several other city staff. Being that the date is September 11th, I would like to just call a moment of just quick silence in recognition of the events of this day several years ago. Okay, thank you. Now I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda. So moved.
Second.
Moved by Gill and seconded by Dodds. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the agenda is approved. Okay, now it's my honor to make two proclamations tonight. The agenda actually calls for 3, but the Constitution Week is not going to happen tonight. That didn't get brought in time. So I have, the first one to do is for National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. Put on my glasses because it's small print. City of Coralville Proclamation. Whereas September is known around the United States as National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and it is intended to help promote awareness surrounding each of the suicide prevention resources available to us in our community. The simple goal is to learn how to help those around us and how to talk about suicide with increasing risk of harm. And whereas suicidal thoughts can affect anyone regardless of age, gender, race, orientation, income level, religion, or background, and whereas according to the CDC, each year 41,000 people die by suicide, and whereas suicide is the 10th leading cause of death amongst adults in the U.S. and the 2nd leading cause of death among people from the ages of 10 to 24, and whereas Coralville, Iowa is no different than any other community in the country, but chooses to publicly state and place our full support behind local educators, mental health professionals, athletic coaches, PAC leaders, police officers, and parents as partners in supporting our community and simply being available to one another. And whereas local organizations like the Crisis Center and the National Alliance on Mental Illness are the front lines of a battle that many still refuse to discuss in public, as suicide and mental illness remain too taboo a topic to speak on. And whereas every member of our community should understand that throughout life's struggles, we all need the occasional reminder that we are silently fighting our own battles. And whereas I encourage all residents to take the time to inquire as to the well-being of their family, friends, and neighbors over the next few days, and to genuinely convey their appreciation for their existence by any gesture they deem appropriate. A simple phone call, message, handshake, or hug can go a long ways towards helping someone realize that suicide is not the answer. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor John A. Lundell, do hereby designate September 2018 as National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in the City of Coralville. In witness whereof, I have hereto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Coralville to be affixed this 11th day of September in the year of our Lord 2018. And I think Sarah Sedlacek is going to be here to receive this. Sarah, it's a little unusual, but please say a few words. Where's the public?
I'm joking.
I'm Sarah Sedlich.
Oh, the microphone's not on. I'm just going to stand up here. I've got a loud voice.
It's just about recording.
Oh. I'm Sarah Sedlichuk. I'm the Communications and Development Director at the Crisis Center, and I just want to thank the City of Coralville for taking this step to recognize Suicide Prevention Month. Suicides have increased by more than 30% in the last 10 years in Iowa, and it is time that we all come together to talk about suicide, talk about mental health awareness, and ask the question, are you okay? Because it really is going to take all of us to reduce the stigma to help people reach out. So thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you, Sarah. It's a pleasure to do. Okay, the second proclamation. Whereas a play deficit exists in our society, a very real decline in unstructured play, which has critical implications for the health of our community. And whereas children's media usage has soared in the past 2 decades, with the average American child engaging in 7 hours, 38 minutes of media use each day. And whereas play is critical to children's healthy brain development and building active, healthy bodies. And whereas play allows children to use their creativity while developing their imagination, dexterity, and physical, cognitive, and emotional strength. And whereas unstructured play allows children to learn how to work in groups, to share, to negotiate, to resolve conflicts, and to learn self-advocacy skills. And whereas play helps children develop new competencies that lead to enhanced confidence and the resilience they need to face future challenges. And whereas play is just as important for adults, especially in the workplace, keeping one functional under stress, refreshing the mind and body, triggering creativity and innovation, increasing energy, and helping prevent burnout. And whereas play is so important to optimal child development that the United Nations High Commission for Human Rights has recognized it as a right of every child. And whereas above all, play is a simple joy that is a cherished part of childhood. Now therefore be it resolved that I, John A. Lundell, Mayor of the City of Coralville, proclaim the City of Coralville will be renamed Playville from September 10th to the 30th, 2018, as we celebrate Playvolution. Further, I encourage all residents of all ages to support and promote the idea that unstructured, unplugged, unlimited play is a critical component of healthy development for the community members of Coralville. Signed and sealed this 11th day of September 2018. And Deb Duncase, the director of this fine facility, is here to accept it. Deb, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, I would.
I bet.
My name is Deb Duncase. I'm the Executive Director of the Iowa Children's Museum. We're super excited to have the council meeting here tonight. And we want to thank the City of Coralville, Mayor Lundell, all the council members for the, I believe it's the 4th year in a row that we have changed the name of Coralville to Playville. It means a lot to us. You know throughout the world that play is critical for healthy child development. There's all kinds of research that supports that. But we also know that play is a basic human need that each one of us has every single day. If we are play deprived, we know that it reveals itself in certain kinds of behavior. We might get cranky, we might get rigid, we might feel stuck in a rut or feel victimized by life. Play can change all of that, and that is why we don't want to wait to play just on vacation. We want to play every day. So we are here today to start a Playvolution right here in Coralville. So we have a tiny little play activity. Come on, play all of this. We're going to teach you a cheer. And then we're all going to release our balls in the air. So here's how the cheer goes. So you're not going to do it yet. I'm just going to tell you first. It's very simple. 1, 2, 3, 4. Imagine, create, discover, explore. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let the Playvolution begin. But we're going to cheer it really loud. Okay, Ellen needs the ball. Okay, ready? So 1, 2, 3.
I think we should go through it once, and then at the end, we're all going to throw, at the second time, we're going to all throw them up in the air.
Jill doesn't believe we can do it the first time.
No. I just like it, so I want to hear it.
1, 2, 3, 4. Imagine, create, discover, explore. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let the Playvolution begin.
1,
2, 3, 4. Imagine, create, discover, explore. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let the Playvolution begin.
Chuck Swanson, you would have booked this for Hampshire.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, that was fun. Now on to citizen comments. This is the time on the agenda for anyone to comment on an item that's not already on the agenda. Yes, Doctor. Please go over to the podium, please.
thank you for allowing us to present a couple comments regarding a potential request. My name is Don Brown. My wife is Judy Barkalow. We live at 1507 Brown Deer Road, and we have several neighbors who live along a trench. Our house, 1507, sits on what I call a hogback. On either side of the house, there's rather a steep decline. On the south side of the house, that decline goes into a drainage area, and we will circulate back to the council the map of the area concerned. That particular area has become dysfunctional. It probably wasn't quite adequate in the first place, but it right now is not draining properly, and we're getting some of the sides of the trench washing away because there's nothing to stop the rapid water which we're now receiving routinely. So we were notified by your city engineer that it is potentially possible that now funds may be available for one of two projects along Brown Deer Road. The former project has apparently become inoperative because of the owners not wishing to sign off on certain issues. So we were asked to go around to the neighbors concerned with this project and get just a little sign in that says we, the property owners along here, are in agreement for you to proceed with that if you would be so kind as to do so. I would be glad to. There are five properties, really only 4 really are on the edge of the trench, and our neighbor Dan Willis, who is sitting there, also has the ability to allow construction, if I understand correctly, Dan, to move down his driveway, which you would see parallels south of the trench. So we're just here to present the names of the people, the property owners, and for your discussion later on as to when the bids come in for this particular project. If you would please move ahead with it, we would greatly appreciate it before our walls collapse on us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ms. Clerk here will take yes, we'll be in communication. Scott Larson or someone from the engineering department is following this pretty closely. Thank you very much. You're welcome to stay there. Is there anyone else who would like to speak about an item that's not already on the agenda tonight? Yes.
Hi, everyone. Great to be here tonight. What a fun venue change. I'm Kelly Ruggles. I'm the Vice Chairman of the Board for the Coralville Food Pantry, and wanted to report our monthly numbers for the month of August, like we like to do every month. August was another busy month for us at the food pantry. We served 397 families. We had 866 family visits, a total of 1,400 total individuals with a poundage of food of a little over 27,000 pounds. So it was a big month for us. I would also like to take this opportunity. I would be remiss if I did not share a plug for our upcoming first annual golf outing fundraiser at Brown Deer on September 28th. I've got registration forms if you guys would like to put a couple foursomes together of the council members and Kelly and the mayor. That would be awesome. We'd love to see you out at the golf course. It's Friday morning, September 28th. Tee Off Against Hunger is our website where you could also register, or I can give you a form. So thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thanks for the update. Is there anyone else who would like to speak this time? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 7, Auditor's Parcel 2016009. Don, second reading.
Ordinance number 2018-1018, an ordinance amending the Coralville Community Plan to reflect certain property generally known as Auditor's Parcel 2016009, Coralville, Iowa, to be designated medium-density residential use in place of parks for green space use. Introduced for adoption, second consideration by Councilmember Foster,
Second by Gill. Discussion?
Can you clarify the difference between the rezoning and the second reading? So this is not a rezoning.
No.
This is just
still the land use
second reading.
amendment.
for the land use amendment.
Correct. And there'll be a third if it passes tonight. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Excuse me. Public comment?
No, there is no, this is not a public hearing. There was a public hearing, this is a public meeting, it's not a public hearing. You had your input last week, you've had much input during the course of this week, 11 emails today, 6 from the same person, and there'll be another public hearing at least with the zoning change. So
The zoning will be at the third reading if this passes, and the zoning public hearing and will be at the next meeting on the 25th. And just to clarify, if there's some questions about the petition that was filed, the 4/5 majority, the 4/5 vote will apply to the rezoning ordinance that will come up at the next meeting. So, and I think I passed that up to some of the council members after the last meeting. I wasn't here to explain that. So that petition is valid, that the property owner did file. So the 4/5 will apply to the next meeting.
So we're doing the third reading and the rezoning at the next
So
meeting?
if it passes tonight, then you'd have the third reading of this, and if it passes the third reading, then we'd have the public hearing on the rezoning request at that time. And then at that time, the petition has been filed, and you'd have the 4/5 supermajority would be required to pass the ordinance, not the 3-2 simple majority at the next meeting for the rezoning ordinance.
Mr. Mayor, I think I'll just say too, being the government teacher that, and this probably isn't gonna make anybody in the room happy, but, I'm keeping my no vote, but in government we have what, the Supreme Court a concurring opinion, where there's a reasoning that's different from what is put out there, and quite frankly, my no vote is because I just don't think this land should be, used for anything, but, I'm gonna say, I've been disappointed with some of the tone of the information that we received. I think, my issue isn't what would have been put there. It's I don't think anything should be put there. But the talk, the way that Mr. Watts has been characterized, I think is insulting. The idea that it's only for greed and profit, I think is insulting. I'm not out there to throw this baby out with the bathwater by any stretch of imagination, because I think that the way that this has gotten to this point is quite frankly disappointing.
And I'd like to just make a comment and say that, and a couple of comments actually. A couple of the emails that I have received have said, well, how would you feel if you were going to have a big apartment complex put up in your neighborhood? And I will tell you that I have lived in Coralville for 17 years. I have lived in many different neighborhoods, and in every neighborhood that I've lived in, there has been a mixture of different housing types. I've lived right by apartments. I have lived in neighborhoods that have townhomes and duplexes and single-family homes. The neighborhood that I live in now, 1 block south of me, I live off of Lindcrest Drive, and 1 block south of me, there are townhomes that are very much like the ones that are on Country Club Drive. Right across the street, there are 2 apartment buildings. And along Holiday Road, you see apartments, you see condos, you see townhomes, duplexes, and single-family homes. So while I genuinely share the concerns about the environmental impact, that was really one of the reasons I struggled with my yes vote, because I love all of our green space in Coralville, I love all of our trees in Coralville, and I don't like to see them cut down. But this is consistent with what we have done in the past, and what we have all over Coralville. It's also consistent with a lot of the development that we are doing with Bridgewater and in the West Land use, where I really appreciate the mixture of different housing types that we are putting up all over Coralville. The only other thing I'd like to say is that one of the comments that I was disappointed in, some of the things that I heard were the negative comments about people that live in apartments. And that, if they live in an apartment, they must not care. And I don't want an apartment across the street from me, would you? And things like that. My husband and I, when we were very young, when we had an infant, we lived in an apartment. And I was with a young woman today who's a young professional, very talented young woman who chooses to live in an apartment because she wants that community. She doesn't want to live by herself. So I agree, you know, some of the, I absolutely am sympathetic to the concerns. I understand that change can be difficult, but I agree with what you said, Mitch, about, you know, some of the comments I felt were a little bit troubling.
I will express my thoughts about my vote tonight. I will vote yes for this. I felt like last time that our planning and zoning didn't have enough information, and as our conversations went on here, it seemed like there was unclearness about the whole changing this parcel to medium density land use. Since then, I think we've received plenty of information as far as sewer line concerns. We've had lots of public discussion, we've seen the petitions, and traffic counts and quarry concerns and stormwater issues. I am confident that we are making a better decision tonight, and therefore I will vote yes.
And I'll piggyback on some of the concerns about some of the emails that we received. Words like transients were used. It's starting to sound a whole lot like it's a little bit of not in my backyard, which is very disappointing. I think Coralville is a better community than that. I discussed at the last meeting my feelings on mixed communities and how important that is, and that I want to bring every member of our community up a little bit if they can have their own home. That was very disappointing. I did not like a lot of the characterization attacks on Mr. Watts, talking about it could be shoddy workmanship. I think we can all agree that he's built a lot of incredible developments in our area, and we're very appreciative of working with him, and he always trying to work with us on a very professional level. So, with that said, I'll still be voting yes as well.
Oh, I'll be voting yes. In the 90s, we did the PUD process. The PUD process was for parcels of property that just didn't fit in zoning, and it was very hard to fit in islands. And Coralville has always tried to make it continuous and make it fit. And the reason I'm voting for this is for the land use is because most of the property around it is contiguous. The contiguous property around it lends itself to a PUD process, and that's all I can say for that. I'm going to vote yes.
And it's a bit premature to be talking about the project, because this again is just a land use change. But I don't think it's correct to refer to them as apartments unless something's changed. I was told by Mr. Watts that it's owner-occupied units, not rental dwelling units. But again, we'll see what comes in if it makes it that far.
Well, even on that note, again, I think what Megan said, I mean, I live in the corner of Ashland and 12. I have commercial, single-family, mixed-use, multifamily, all within a 2-block radius. Now, behind me is woods, and I would protect those woods as I would anything else. But across the street, if you know that big space right on 12th Avenue at Oakdale, I would support anything being built there. Apartments, anything. I mean, I think we're all committed here to making sure that people have good places to live in Coralville. And that's, you know, and that's put the cart before the horse. But once we start talking about what gets put together, I want to be active on this. But you know, for me, my no vote is because it's city-owned land. You know, we do have some control of what it should be and what it shouldn't be. Which is why I also disagree with the Bridgewater comparisons. That was private land. You know, that's a whole different issue in my opinion as well.
I would like to add, as the liaison to the Parks and Rec Committee, that we're very, very proud of all of the parks that we have in Coralville. And I think this council is very cognizant of every single tree that's been cut down and making sure that trees get rebuilt, replanted, and that we try to protect as much of our wetlands and all of our areas as much as possible. So.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Gross.
No.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Okay. Ordinance passes at second consideration with gross dissent. All ayes with gross dissent. Thank you. Item 8 is Lot 11, Oakdale Research Park, and Auditor's Parcel 2018053. This is also second consideration of the ordinance.
Ordinance number 2018-1019, ordinance amending the Coralville zoning ordinance number 664, as previously amended, rezoning certain property located within the corporate limits of the city of Coralville, Johnson County, Iowa, and generally known as Lot 11, Oakdale Research Park, and Parcel 2018053, from I-1 Research Office Industrial District to I-2D1 Industrial Plan Unit Development 1 District, introduced for second consideration by Councilmember Gross, seconded by.
Second by Gill. Discussion? Roll call.
Gill. Aye. Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross. Aye.
Ordinance passes in second consideration, all ayes. Item 9 is Crosspark addition. This is a re-subdivision that building official Jim Kessler is going to tell us about.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to take note that I have a technical assistant tonight. I'm very married to all of you because of her day job, so I just want to recognize her as helping out tonight. Crosspark subdivision is a re-subdivision of lots 2 and 5, Coral Ridge Commerce Park. This is basically a location map showing where it is. This is Wheaton Road, extension of Wheaton Road. So we're talking about this lot here, and we're talking about the lot north of it. Those two lots, and we can go to the next slide. Those two lots are being subdivided into 3 lots. This is a preliminary plat for the 3 lots. Lot number 1, number 2, number 3 is on the bottom there. We don't quite see number 3 on the screen. As I said, these are commercial. They will actually have common access points off of Crosspark Road. Lots 1 and 2 will have common access here. Lots 2 and 3 will have a common access here. All the utilities are basically in place at this time. They were put in with the other development in the past. Crosspark Road coming down here will have a 5-foot sidewalk. Wheaton Road on the north side of Wheaton Road will have a 10-foot sidewalk that will eventually continue logically east and west, actually. So this is the preliminary plat, and the next one up. This is just the final plat. Same designation as a preliminary. This was on P&Z at the last meeting, recommended for approval by a 6-0 vote. That's it.
Thank you, Jim. Item C is consider a resolution.
Resolution approving the preliminary plat for lots 1 through 3, Crosspark addition, Coralville, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Gill, seconded by.
Seconded by Dodds. Discussion? Roll call.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich. Foster.
Aye.
Gross. Gill. Aye.
Resolution passes all ayes. Item D is the same project, approving the final plat.
Resolution approving the final plat for lots 1 through 2, Crosspark addition, Coralville, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Jaras, seconded by.
Seconded by Goodrich. Discussion? Roll call.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross. Gill. Dodds.
Aye.
Resolution passes all ayes. Item 10 is Jaras, second edition. And again, building official Kessler will tell us about that.
Actually, this is another rezoning of the Jaras addition, first Jaras addition. It's actually lots, a preliminary plat and a re-subdivision of lots. Well, we're seeing lots. Can you roll up a little bit, Deb? There we go. Perfect. It's a re-subdivision of lots 1, 2, 3, 4. This is an addition. This isn't the old one, but there were 5 lots in here originally. We had lots 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 across on the western side of West Park. What they're doing now is re-subdividing this as a preliminary plat into 6 lots. Lots 1 and 2 stay the same. Lots 5 and lot 6 are still basically in their original position, except lot 5 now includes everything to the west of West Core Drive right here. So this becomes lot 5. So this is a re-subdivision, the preliminary plat. What they're doing is taking lot 4, this is the only change basically in the plat, taking lot 4 and subdividing lot 3 off of lot 4. And the reason for this is, as you know, we have a new user for this long former feed warehouse or feed distribution there. And the owner of this lot would like to maintain ownership of the second building on the lot, or the lot that is on the new proposed lot number 3. He'd like to keep that as his private office, and he'd like not to be tied in with a condominium association with lot number 4. So what he's done is create this rather irregular shaped lot here. Access, of course, to all of these lots is off of Highway 6 or 2nd Street. This is a very irregular lot. Most of the time we don't look at lots like this. We have our 3-to-1 ratio, which states that for every foot the lot is deep, it has to be at least 3 foot wide. And that's how we got rid of the flagpole lots. However, at 2nd Street up here, this lot is a little more than what is required to meet the width to depth ratio of 3-to-1. So it is actually, by our zoning code, it is a legal lot. So at this point in time, he is going forward with the replatting of the plat, the preliminary plat replatting, and then the final plat of only lot number 3, and the rest of the lots will be replatted at a future date. So this is preliminary plat, and if we scroll up to the final plat, there you can see that the only lot we're actually replatting with this at this time is lot number 3. This was also on P&Z and recommended by a 6-0 vote for approval.
Thank you, Jim. Let's introduce Mr. President. Consider a resolution.
Resolution approving the amended preliminary plat for lots 1 through 6, Jaras Edition, Coralville, Iowa, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Goodrich, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Foster. Discussion.
Jim, lot 3, how are the utilities, how do they access utilities? They go down that dog leg?
The access, that's something that we're still working out with the, especially the sewer issue, but the water is across the street. It's on the north side of 2nd Street, and they'll have to come across 2nd Street for the water to get to the water over there. The sewer is a little different situation, and I know they're working pretty steady with Scott Larson on developing how they're going to get sewer there.
And all the utilities north of the tracks go to the north, and then the utilities on the south go to the circle, or half circle. I mean, there's nothing running under the railroad right away. I mean, your utilities
Those utilities come across and go West Core Drive.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross. Aye. Gill. Aye. Dodds. Goodrich.
Aye.
Resolution passes all ayes. Item D is the final plat for the same project.
Resolution approving the final plat for lot 3, Jaras Second Edition, Coralville, Iowa, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Foster, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gross. Discussion? Roll call.
Gross. Aye. Gill. Aye. Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich. Aye. Foster.
Aye.
Resolution passes all ayes. Item 11 is Stepping Stone Ridge. Again, Jim will give us a report.
We're looking also at a preliminary and final plat for this. This is located, this is 12th Avenue, North 12th Avenue. This is the Kemp subdivision, and if you continue out just a little further north on 12th Avenue, you'd come to the roundabout Northwest Junior High. So what we're looking at is a little triangular piece of ground here. It's less than an acre. It's about 0.85 acres of ground. The owner of that, or the purchaser of that, wants to divide that into 2 single-family dwelling building lots. And although it looks like it would be kind of a challenge, and if you'll roll up a little bit, Deb, to the preliminary plat. So this is the original triangular-shaped lot, and he's dividing it into 2 single-family building lots here. It's already zoned R1, so it's already zoned properly. Actually, I know it's hard to see on this, but in this lines right here, there's some dotted lines in there on both of these, and those are the actual building sites. Setbacks taking into consideration and everything. So you can put actually a pretty decent sized house on both of these lots. So he's asking to preliminary plat this as 2 single family lots and then go on to the final plat. Sewer is already available. There is sewer, go ahead, that's fine. There is sewer actually right in here, and there's sewer along 12th Avenue on this side he will have to cross 12th Avenue to pick up the water main on this side. But, so public utilities are already in the area, so tonight we're looking at both preliminary and final plats. This was also on P&Z at the last meeting, and likewise recommended for approval by a 6-0 vote.
Thank you, Jim. Resolution?
Resolution approving the preliminary plat for Second Stone Bridge, Coralville, Iowa, introduced and adopted by Councilmember Gross, seconded by.
Second by Gill. Discussion? Roll call.
Gill. Aye. Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Resolution passes all ayes. Item D is the same project, final plat.
Resolution approving the final plat for Second Stone Bridge, Coralville, Iowa, introduced and adopted by Councilmember Gill, seconded by.
Second.
Second by Goodrich. Discussion? Roll call.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross. Gill. Aye.
Resolution passes all ayes. Item 12 is Guest Welcome Center. This is a 3-year agreement for the operation of the Guest Welcome Center here in the Coral Ridge Mall. And it's with the Iowa Children's Museum at a fee not to exceed $50,000 per year.
Resolution approving a sponsorship agreement with the Iowa Children's Museum regarding the operation of the Welcome Center at Coral Ridge Mall, introduced and adopted by Councilmember Dodd, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gross. Discussion?
Yeah, this will be the second, or first renewal, second agreement with the Children's Museum. We've had an agreement for a welcome center here at the Coral Ridge Mall since the mall first opened, and it was operated by others. And then the Children's Museum willingly stepped forward, and it's been a great partnership. And so we recommend moving forward, and actually the fee has stayed the same over that time period as well. But there's a lot of people that come to the mall that ask questions about lots of other locations in Coralville or the region, and they're able to not only talk about Coral Ridge Mall and the museum, but other places and things that are happening in the community as well. So it's a great partnership.
Definitely.
I'd like to thank the Children's Museum for all the work they do, and we're getting involved.
Thank you. We want to thank you. We're thrilled with you.
No, we absolutely love you. The face and voice of visitors coming in and asking about our community. You guys hit home runs every time. You do. Thank you.
Good one.
Okay, roll call.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill. Aye. Dodds.
Aye.
Resolution enthusiastically passes all ayes.
Playfully.
Playfully, okay. Well, that's easier to say.
Better pass it, we're gonna need balls thrown.
I was worried about that other thing.
Me too.
Item 13, Iowa River Landing Retail Lease Agreement. This will be a lease for a full-service sit-down Mexican restaurant in Unit A at 211 East 9th Street.
Resolution of intent to dispose of an interest in real property and soliciting all other proposals for the leasing of an approximate 4,083 square foot space at 211 East 9th Street, introduced and adopted by Councilmember Goodrich, seconded by.
Second by Dodds. Discussion?
Yeah, this is that building G, the newest building that was completed last year. So this will be the first tenant in the commercial space across your back pocket.
Hey, Keller, Kevin, does the tenant, do they have other restaurants? Is this their first foray into this?
No, actually, they have another restaurant in the Iowa Landing, so that's the good news. And they have Marquee Restaurant, Marquee.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. So this would be their second one in the Iowa Landing. So obviously they've had a good experience with the first, and this would be offering a different type of restaurant.
And they said there'll be more information coming. The public approval will be the first week of October on this. So between that time, I believe there'll be more information will come from the proposed tenants.
Hey. Roll call.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross. Aye. Gill. Aye. Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Resolution passes all ayes. I would consider a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented or amended.
To approve the consent calendar, items A through Y inclusive.
Second.
Okay, moved by Gill, seconded by Dodds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And
It's
Mr. Mayor.
approved.
Mr. Mayor. With the roll call. Sorry.
I'm sorry?
We have to have a roll call on the consent.
Oh, yeah, of course we do. Yeah, see, it's this new location just threw me.
Sorry. Gross. Gill. Aye. Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you for keeping me on track. Approved all ayes. Item 15. Oh, we do have city engineer here. I didn't see you back there. The city engineer road construction report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you can imagine, the last few weeks have been a challenge on the projects because of all the rain, but now we've got a good forecast for the next at least 10 days, and so a lot of progress is being made. On First Avenue, last week they were able to pour the southbound 2 lanes from the south side of the north, BP Amico Drive, clear down to the railroad tracks. So that was a good progress. This week they intend to finish the southbound lanes for the extent of the project. They intend to do half of the center turn lane, the west half of the center turn lane, do all of the sidewalks and walls and things and bricks around the First Avenue 6th Street intersection, with the goal being to open that intersection, First Avenue 6th Street, early next week. So we think that'll be a major step forward to get traffic back to somewhat closer normal in that area. So that's forecast for that project. That project is scheduled to be done in November, completely with the hardscape improvements, potentially landscaping and planning will be next spring. On the Coleridge Avenue project, they have all of the southbound 2 lanes poured now from Forever Green to Oakdale. They transferred the detour route at the north end onto the new paving, and so they've removed the 2 lanes on the east side of Coleridge, and they are working to get that prepared for paving as we speak. About half of the northbound lanes on the east side of the road south of Wheaton have been paved already, and they anticipate finishing paving those this week. And so they're making a lot of progress there. The goal would be in towards the end of September, early October, to get people off of the detour around Crosspark and put them on the new paving. And then there will be turn lanes and other things that have to be done, but because of having 2 lanes in each direction, they'll be able to use a single lane closure in each direction to allow the workers to safely finish that project. So that project is also scheduled for a November completion.
I just have one. Do you anticipate the opening up of 6th Street and First Avenue with the temporary signals to cause more delay on First Avenue with the introduction of those signals and so forth?
I don't think so, because they're traffic actuated signals, and so we'll be able to, they'll respond to the volumes of traffic, and so we would anticipate that it actually might help the traffic flow on First Avenue, as well as provide better access, in and out of the neighborhood adjacent to First Avenue. So. Okay.
Dan, not to put you on the spot, when you say November, do you think it'll be early, late, mid? Any idea there?
You can tell me how many days it's going to rain between now and then. I'll give you an idea.
I'm thinking 8.
Our goal is to have, again, on both projects, have all the hardscape, all the paving, all the sidewalks, all the signals, and all the lights up and operational before winter hits. And then again, we'll probably have to come back in the spring to do the final landscaping and seating and those kind of things. But the goal is to have all the pedestrian and vehicular traffic elements done and open before winter hits.
What is the speed limit along those construction areas?
Speed limit is supposed to be 25 miles per hour.
Thank you.
So we would appreciate public taking note of that and to follow that speed limit, because obviously there's a lot of construction workers there, and they're concentrating on their construction work, and they're not concentrating on traffic whizzing by them, and so we want to make sure it's a safe environment for them, and we would again appreciate if people would follow the posted construction speed limit of 25 miles per hour.
Remember, the cheapest construction zone ticket for speed is $397.50. The highest is $1,390 for speed in the construction zone. So.
You better be nice.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Item 16 is City Administrator Report.
Yeah, first I would just acknowledge being here in the Iowa Children's Museum space. We'll see later, we're going to tour right after this meeting's over to the facility, but a lot of improvements have continued to be made by the board and staff of the Iowa Children's Museum. But also just like to note, former General Grove, but now Brookfield, did extend the lease of the facility for 10 years, which allowed the board and staff to go forward with improvements. And so they have also been a huge supporter of having the Iowa Children's Museum here in the Coleridge Mall. So I think it's a great partnership, it's a great facility, and we're lucky to have them here. So just want to acknowledge the others that are participating in this as well. Would also like to acknowledge Mary Dickerson, that has been in charge of our telecommunications for over 9 years, I believe. Will be leaving for another opportunity, and just would like to acknowledge he's really made a lot of improvements in the running of Coralville, and so just like to thank him for all. And then just last, we'll just acknowledge that several of us will be attending the Iowa League of Cities convention this week, starting tomorrow in Council Bluffs, and our mayor, Mayor Lundell, is the president of the league, and so he'll be overseeing all the activities of the league meeting this year, and then on Friday we'll be turning over his role. So been a full year already,
yes,
which seems hard to believe that it's been a year since he took over, but you know, it's great to have people from Coralville in leadership positions like this on a statewide organization. So that's it.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. Appreciate those comments. And yes, there'll be a number of us gone tomorrow through Friday. It's over in Council Bluffs. It has to go to the West Coast once in a while. But we will be hosting it in 2020, the Iowa League of Cities meeting. So it's coming back. And the year did go by fast, and it was an enjoyable experience. But I'm going to hand the gavel over to Scott Nauman. Scott's a young, compared to me and many of the past presidents, a young council member from Bettendorf. So get some youth involved here. So let's see. About the only other thing I'll add is today I recorded the radio ads for the upcoming fall mayor's cleanup and the upcoming fall shred day, so I might as well mention that. The fall mayor's cleanup is the first week of October, so if you want to be getting your items ready to put out, you have 2 or 3 weeks to go, but it's the first week of October on your regular garbage pickup day. And then the shred day is from 8 to noon at the Aquatic Center parking lot near City Hall, from, I said the 8 to noon on Saturday, October 13th. Which is homecoming, the Maryland game, if that's how you keep track of your calendar. So, that's it. City Attorney's report.
I just want people to know that I'm going to have some difficulty pushing that Coralville Playville name to the Henderson Court. But
You can do it.
in an effort to stay out of the timeout booth, I will try.
I've got nothing to
Committee and council members report. We might as well just keep coming this way. Lori, would you like to go first tonight?
Sure, thank you so much for having us here at the Children's Museum. It's great to see the new carpeting, and I understand there's other new things here at the Children's Museum. Thank you, Eric Dickerson, for your many years. It's been a joy and pleasure to work with you, and we wish you well in your future endeavors.
Thank you, Lori. Jill?
I'll copy that quick to Eric. We've always appreciated your extreme professionalism and always trying to represent Coralville in the best light. So thank you for everything that you've done. A couple things for Parks and Rec. On Friday at 10:30 in the morning, the Rotary Club of Coralville North Corridor, along with Take a Kid Outside, is going to have a groundbreaking. They're going to construct a shelter and a fireplace out there, and then they're going to donate that back to the city. So anybody who's interested in coming out to do that would be great. And then on Sunday, September 30th, from 2 to 4, it will be the grand opening for the Altmeyer Family Park and Disc Golf Course. And I know people have been excited about that. They will not only cut the ribbon, but then you'll have the opportunity to try the disc golf in small groups, take a tour, hike, whatever you would like to do.
You can meet at Altmeyer.
There you go. And then I had one, I wanted to ask about a family in the Kirkwood district. They said that they walked to Kirkwood and that safety patrol students told them that the city had taken the crosswalk and sidewalk back from the school, so they weren't going to be able to walk that way anymore. They wanted to know if that was what that was about, and if there will no longer be a crosswalk at all.
That was on 10th Street? I wonder if it got resurfaced and just never got repainted maybe or something.
I don't know, we haven't made any changes, but we haven't changed my house.
Okay. Okay, thank you. That's all I have. Oh, and don't forget to play.
I'm waiting to get hugs. Tom?
Congratulations, Eric, on your new endeavor. Good luck. The second item is, I really like being here. Thank you for hosting.
Wait till you play. Wait till you play.
I'm always playing.
I'll jump in and say, I like it here because I can see Jim's laser pointer on. Mitch?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'll piggyback on a lot. I, too, love how we kind of go over this spot. I mean, Tom, John, we've been here the longest. It's the first time I've ever had a non-city hall meeting, so.
The city museum, old schoolhouse.
Oh, that's right. All right. Yeah, I forgot about that. All right. Well, second. Yeah, second two, I'll jump on the ship two with Eric. Congratulations and thank you, Eric. For those of you that don't know, Eric got a pretty prestigious award a couple years ago from the Convention Business Bureau for everything that he does for the community, and I was fortunate enough to give him that award. And in his speech, or in the speech giving it to him, it really talked about his humility. He's always behind the camera, never wants to be in front of it, but it's just the quintessential volunteer. So, plus not every medium-sized Iowa city gets a former NFL running back to be their the person. All right, that was a bad Eric Dickerson joke. All right. I'll stick with my day job. All right. Mr. City Attorney, you mentioned the fines for, what was your fine?
Work zone.
Work zone. What is it for running a school bus stop sign?
It is, let's see, it's $200, so it'd be 200, actually, I think it's 260. It'd be $315, plus your license will be suspended for 30 days automatically.
Here's a true story. I was on the bus today. We had a paraeducator on show up right on 22nd Ave, and a child was coming on the bus. The sign's out, and this van, it was a gray Honda Odyssey. And I'm giving him the, I don't know, we're like, is this going to slow down or not? Blasted right through. I mean, it was crazy. Please, my goodness, if there's a stop sign flashing red, that means stop. Third, we just want to give Ellen a shout out. 2 weeks ago at our executive session, work session, we had a great public housing, affordable housing update. So thank you all for putting that together. Really do appreciate it. And I'm hoping maybe our next step we can kind of get some items on for an action plan that we can kind of start working off of. I think there's support to do that. And lastly, Kelly, at some point, I'm just curious, how many Coralville employees, city employees, non-seasonal, do we have working minimum wage jobs for the city? My guess is not many, but if you could just give me a list at the point of any.
I'll look those up and let you know, but it is not very
That's
good
what I was
because even in all the rec center jobs, those are all beyond minimum wage. So I have to check to see what ones it might be. So,
Yep, great, thank you. That's all I have there.
Okay, thanks.
So Mitch, I have to agree with you on the school bus thing. Please slow down for the school buses. I put a tiny 5-year-old kindergartner on a bus every morning, and he's little, he can barely get up the steps. So we definitely want to make sure that all of the children, our young children and our older children are safe when they are getting to and from school, so I appreciate you bringing that up. I wanted also to thank Eric. I heard about Eric's new endeavor at the legislative forum yesterday. One of the moderators praised Eric for his work for covering a lot of important community events. I think it's a really important service that we offer, really important for transparent government and making sure that everybody can stay connected to what's happening if they can't attend the meetings. So Eric, you will be missed. We really appreciate all of your hard work. I also wanted to mention the community meal for the Coralville Food Pantry. That's coming up on September 21st at the Coralville Public Library.
It's 29th.
The golf tournament is the 28th. That's what Kelly brought up.
That's right.
Yep, but the community meal is on the 21st at the library, and that is at 5 p.m. So we'd love to see everybody out at that event. And then finally, I just want to echo what everybody says. I love being here. I do feel so much more relaxed, like in this environment, you know. So I really appreciate having the meeting here. This is a lot of fun, and I can't tell you how important the Children's Museum has been to my family. I have 5 children, and they, you know, their entire lives, we have been coming to the museum. It's great on days when it's really hot and it's too hot and sticky to be outside. It's great when it's raining, winter break. So this has been a really important place for my family and my children. And so thank you for everything you do. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Goodrich. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm glad we didn't have any public hearings, because I don't have a gavel. I would have